In this video, I'm going to try to finish my TBR before my new semester starts. So this is my TBR, as you can see here, but the Ballad of Never After is not in my TBR because I have not read Once Upon a Broken Heart. So basically, I have 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. The first book that I'm going to read is this book. This is Airman by Owen Colfer. It is a story about Connor Brookhart. So Connor, he is being accused of doing a crime that he didn't do, and he is being thrown into a sea-swept dungeon. So it's like an underground prison cell at the sea, and because he's being accused of a crime, so now he is branded a traitor. So now he wants to kind of like escape from that prison because he wants to clear his name. And also in the synopsis it says here he wants his old life back, his family, his friends, and his princess. So there's romance in here, I would say, but I think I know that the romance in here is a very subplot, but yeah, romance is still romance. And then like he wants to escape from that prison. It's at the sea, so in order to escape he will have to fly. So that's what this book is about, and this is him flying, I guess. Then a little backstory about this book. So I bought this book at Big Bad Wolf 2017, if I'm not mistaken. So back then, I didn't read English books. I think I started reading English books in 2021 or 2022. So I went to BBW 2017, and my sister asked me to buy some books for her. She gave me a list, and then she said if the books on the list were not at the BBW, just get her whatever books that I think she would like. So I got her 4 books, and she didn't like any of them. So the books became mine. So right now I have the kind of like calling to read this book. So before this, it was just in my bookshelf. I usually read like book talk books and popular books or books that people recommend to me. Before I start a book, I usually know people's opinion on that book, and also maybe like rating if people like it or not. So I would say this is not popular book. So I don't know people's opinion on this book. Basically, I can check like Goodreads rating on this book to see the rating, of course, and to have some expectation whether I will enjoy this book or not. But I kind of like don't want to do that because I want to go into this book very blindly. So I guess we will find out if I will enjoy this book or not. I started this book yesterday. This is my reading progress. I'm on chapter 4. So this is it. So far so good. So yeah, I will talk to you when I have anything I want to update. Guys, so I just have finished part 1. Wait, you guys cannot see the content, but yeah, on page 100. And like honestly, I didn't like, this is about Connor being accused of doing the crime, and I didn't expect that in part 1 the accusation would already happen. I just didn't expect that this book would be that fast, I would say. I think it's because like the books I have read like before I read this book, they were of kind of like slow, what do we call that, macam slow lah. Actually I can know that we have contents here, contents and like the titles and also the pages, but I just don't like to read it. When we read the title of the chapter, sometimes you can have the idea of what happened in the chapter. So I don't want to know that. I like it when I know information as I read the book, not, by reading the contents beforehand. So I didn't know that this all would happen in the first 100 pages. So yeah, this book is fast. In the beginning, there was nothing happening. So I didn't expect that something would happen. Waktu ni lah kan. So far, very good. Hi guys. So it's the next day and it's currently 7 a.m. I stayed up all night last night reading and just chilling. I wasn't reading the whole time. And then I got to page 184. So this is in chapter 10 and this is the progress. I like this book so far. Like I enjoyed it very much actually, and while reading last night I actually had the feeling that this book, it can be a 5-star read. So that's quite shocking because I did not expect that. For today, this morning, I will go to my mom's office because I need to help her clean her office room. So I probably won't read this morning. And also like when we go back home later in the day, I will probably sleep because I haven't slept. I will probably continue reading in the later evening or later at night, but I will still bring this book with me to my mom's office just for the comfort of knowing that I have a book with me. So I finished reading this book, Amen, last night. I read it a 5-star, so sangat unexpected. You know how I said previously that I want to go into this book blindly and I didn't have any prior knowledge, any expectation, I didn't know people's opinion on this book. I really am grateful for the decision that I made because basically like everything that I read in this book, I experienced them for the first time. I want to give the synopsis sekali lagi because the synopsis I give before this was not very good. So it tells a story about Connor. It takes place on Salty Island. The time was on 1895 to 1898. Masa tu, people were building planes. I would say macam trying to build planes lah. So basically like Connor Brookhart ni, dia tengah belajar untuk buat plane. Buku ni like mainly about planes and stuff and things like that. Waktu tu dekat Salty Island, we have King Nicholas. So before this, as I said, yang Connor tu, he's being accused of doing a crime. The crime was killing King Nicholas. So after dia being accused tu, dia masuk penjara lah. The villain yang accused Connor and also yang memasukkan dia dalam prison tu, nama dia Hugo Bonvillain. Hugo Bonvillain is the villain. So dia ni macam, I don't really know, tapi dia macam ada pangkat lah dalam dekat tempat tu kan. Maybe like dalam ketenteraan macam tu. Bila King Nicholas meninggal, so anak dia akan naik tahta lah. Tapi anak dia waktu tu umur 17. So anak dia kena tunggu 2 tahun untuk jadi 17 and boleh naik tahta jadi queen. That's a little synopsis. First of all, I want to tell about how this book gets the 5-star rating. So buku ni, bila saya baca tu, I had this 5-star feeling when we read books. Throughout reading this book, I had that 5-star feeling. There was only one point while reading this book where I was like, oh, maybe this book is not a 5, maybe it's a 4.5. But honestly now, I don't remember what is it that caused the rating drop. And waktu tu sekali je saya fikir, lepas tu dah tak ada dah. Lepas tu semua yang saya baca memberi feeling 5-star lah. When I finished reading this book, I didn't know what to feel and what to rate this book. I actually thought to myself, can I give it lower than a 5-star? And that thought honestly feels odd because I had not considered giving it any less than a 5. So like now I consider to give it any lower than 5, it feels odd. Faham kan? That's how it gets the 5-star. And I think like this being a 5-star is largely contributed by the fact that this book gives me new and unique experience. Dia cerita pasal plane, dia cerita pasal a man. Before this, I read book talk books, popular books. So I have this book talk standard rating, I would say, for the books that I have read. So basically, like going into this book, I cannot bring that standard rating and rate this book based on that. And also because it is my first time reading about planes and I get excited reading about it. So macam, if this is not your first time reading about planes, and like even if this is your first time but you don't get as excited as I did, so maybe, you know, this will not be a 5-star for you. And I understand that. I just get excited sometimes. Although it is a 5-star, there were several things that I didn't understand. Macam contoh, macam planes. So they have unique terms and concepts about planes. So unfortunately, I'm not intelligent enough to understand those terms and concepts. And also, macam buku ni, I would say English dia tak susah tau. Cuma mungkin saya lah yang macam kurang memahami. Macam even other things besides the planes parts of this book, macam benda lain lah. Even like kalau ada conversation between characters, sometimes apa yang diorang cakap tu saya tak faham. And then like the maps of this book, macam like on the Salty Island, banyak tempat kan yang events in this book take place. So saya tak faham macam ni kat mana, tu kat mana, dari sini nak pergi kat situ, apa yang jadi. And also macam anything macam the prison system. And then waktu macam Connor waktu first time dia masuk prison tu, macam ada this kind of like salty kiss. Saya macam tak faham apa sebenarnya yang terjadi waktu tu. Tapi macam despite all the things that I didn't understand, I would say maybe I didn't understand 30% of this book, but I still want to give it a 5-star. So that's good. And I definitely cried multiple times when reading this. So of course that's a good sign. Macam tu lah about the rating. And then I enjoyed reading this book, but something that I want to highlight here is that something that I really enjoy and I really appreciate is the friendship between Connor and Linus Winter. So Connor dengan Linus Winter ni waktu dalam prison tu, diorang duduk dalam sel yang sama. So macam, you know, every interaction between them two in this book, I enjoy and I treasure their relationship. I treasure their friendship. And also buku ni dia ada titles for each chapter, and saya sangat suka tahu benda tu. Lepas tu saya suka sebab title chapter dalam buku ni diorang sangat sedap, faham tak? And sometimes bila kita baca tu kan, lepas tu macam at the end of the chapter kita rasa macam, oh, the title of this chapter makes sense. So I like that feeling. Itu yang saya suka. And then there's these two things that I expected it to be in a different way. So the first thing is, in the end, macam what happened to Bond villain, dia, apa yang saya nak adalah dia tu dipenjarakan so that he will go through what Connor has went through. Tapi bila fikir balik, the fact that dia tak dipenjarakan tu actually betul. Macam actually bagus, sebab in the end Queen Isabella tu dia macam ni tau. Prison yang Connor masuk tu, dia bukan prison system tu bukan sistem yang bagus lah. So in the end saya tak pasti Queen Isabella either dia nak tutup prison tu ataupun make the prison system better. But basically like kalau Bond villain dimasukkan dalam penjara, dia takkan melalui lah the sufferings that Connor has went through, sebab the prison system will be better. So macam what happened to Bond villain tu okay, cuma I expected and wish for him to be in prison, and he was not. And the second thing is, while in prison, Connor made friends with this guy. His name is Malarkey, Otto Malarkey. So he promised Malarkey to get him out of the prison when he has escaped. So macam in the end, kita tahu yang Malarkey ni dia akan dibebaskan. Cuma dia tak cerita yang Malarkey ni dah bebas. So I wish, it's not like I expected to read about him being free, but I wish I can read about that part. Because I just like it if apa yang Connor promise tu memang betul-betul terjadi. Macam this author, kalau dia tambah content of this book, dia cerita pasal Malarkey being free, I would happily read that part. Sebab saya just suka. And I also like Malarkey's and Connor's friendship, I would say, because relationship diorang tu macam didn't start in a good term. So macam untuk diorang, macam untuk Connor nanti membebaskan Malarkey tu, so that was something very macam lain lah daripada how their friendship began. So those were the two things. My comment on this book adalah, if we want to read this book, we really cannot use the book talk standard rating. I think it's very easy because you know how readers can diversify our preferences. So I think like kalau kita bawa those preferences, those standard into this book, this will not be an enjoyable read because dia memang tak fit those standards. Macam contoh dia ada long chapters and also dia ada macam slow progression, slow pace lah. Kalau kita tak bawa those preferences, buku ni dia akan jadi, you know, at least for me, dia akan jadi enjoyable read lah. Macam saya cakap, dia slow progression. It actually tells about Connor's life story. So saya rasa saya akan enjoy dia slow ni daripada dia laju. And then you know how I said before that I bought this book in at BBW 2017 and now it's 2024, so 7 years apart. So although those years were very sangat jauh lah, but I really appreciate the fact that I read it now because I think it's kind of like the right timing for me to read this book. Sebab satu, you know, as I said before, I didn't understand several things in this book. Tu saya sekarang, waktu saya dulu lagi lah saya tak faham, I would say, sebab you know my English. Sekarang saya tak faham and I can give it a 5 star. Saya rasa kalau saya baca dulu saya tak faham, I would just close this book and never read it anymore. And then the second thing adalah macam sekarang saya boleh macam diversify my preferences lah, I would say. Maybe kalau saya baca dulu 2021 ke, so waktu tu macam standard saya tu standard book talk tau. So mungkin saya akan bawa that standard into this book and of course it cannot be, I wouldn't find it enjoyable. I think that's all. So I just finished this book. It's currently 5:50 a.m. So like if you hear the chicken screaming, bunyi ayam berkokok, I'm sorry, but please just ignore it. So about this book, I enjoyed reading it so much, and you know like the clip that you saw of me reading this book, that was the only clip that I recorded when I was reading this. Dalam clip tu, as you have seen, I was crying. That part that I was reading, they were of sad parts, and I actually planned to record as I was at the end of this book because I don't want like the only clip that I have reading this book is like, you know, like a sad clip. But my phone died, so like I had to charge my phone, and then I didn't want to record anymore. But even if I recorded me when I was reading the ending of this book, I would still be crying, but it was happy tears. So so this book made me cry a lot. I kind of like didn't expect it because I have said to you guys before this, I started this book I think in December 2023, but macam saya kind of like soft DNF buku ni. So I didn't expect that I would enjoy reading this book so much as I just did. The fact that I did that for this book, I honestly am grateful for, you know, what I did. Sebab bagi saya benda ni dia macam timing tau. Macam now is the right timing for me to read this book, just as macam apa yang berlaku dekat Ant-Man tu kan. I like this book and I also wish that I can reread it, because as I said, macam saya stop untuk masa yang lama and then baru saya masuk balik. So basically like saya nak reread untuk saya baca dia dari awal tau. So adalah benda yang saya lupa. Ada characters yang waktu saya sambung baca ni, I was like, siapa yang karakter ni, macam dah tak kenal tau. Lepas tu macam baca-baca baru, oh dia ni macam tu lah. So I wish this is one of the books that I not like plan, but I wish I would reread it in the future. About the rating on this book, I actually need some little time to think about it, because I don't know, macam awal-awal tu kan saya tak enjoy kan, tapi ending dia tu macam best. So macam overall saya tak boleh bagi, faham kan? Tapi kalau rating tu berdasarkan apa yang belakang ni je, yang after page 224 tu, it would be a high rating lah. Sebab the way it impact me emotionally sangat, it was beautiful. And then saya sangat suka characters dalam ni, macam Eleanor and Finn, you know, the main characters. So okay, so you know, I like them. But also like other characters. Contoh, there was this Indian woman yang tolong Finn, and then saya suka Freya sebab Freya tu adik Eleanor, and then waktu dekat ending tu dia ada tolong Eleanor lah dekat page 389. So the way she help Eleanor at that page, at that chapter, I really like her. And then saya suka Reggie. So Reggie ni macam, Eleanor ni dia ada join this one kind of like art class. So Reggie ni also join that art class, tapi dia macam old man lah. I really like him. Saya suka dia sebab this chapter where she also help Eleanor. I think like characters yang saya suka adalah characters yang membantu lah. Macam the Indian woman, dia tolong Finn dekat airport. And then Reggie dengan Freya dia tolong Eleanor kan. Reggie dia tolong Eleanor dekat page 364. Not only because you know he helped Eleanor, but also I like his confession on this chapter. So saya sangat suka lah these three characters. And then I want to say that you know how I cried while reading this book, yang belakang ni lah kan, yang dalam reading vlog ni. Kalau lah ada orang yang dia nak baca buku ni and dia rasa macam buku ni macam a sad book, macam this is a sad book recommendation, saya tak tahu if this is really a sad book, as in I don't know if you would cry if you read this book. Sebab satu, saya memang tengah mood sedih-sedih. So like even kalau benda tu sweet, even kalau benda tu interaction yang macam romantic ke apa ke, I would still cry. And then second, I gain something, and this is from my experience. Saya ada tengok reading vlog, and then macam booktuber tu macam nangis gila-gila dekat buku. Lepas tu bila saya baca buku tu sedih, tapi saya tak nangis gila-gila pun. You know, maybe we tolerate, you know, our sadness tolerance level lain-lain. So saya tak tahu lah kalau buku ni akan membuat orang lain, you know, feel things deeply as I did. Maybe, you know, you would, maybe you would not. So I don't know. In this reading vlog, saya dah baca Ant-Man dengan this book. So dua-dua buat saya nangis. And then I'm going to continue this reading vlog with this book, On Earth We Are Briefly Gorgeous. Saya dengar kata-kata buku ni sedih, so maybe this is going to, you know, also make me cry. We will see. But I will start this a little later, because now it's like 6 AM, so I have things to do this morning. So tengok lah bila saya start buku ni. just finished reading this book. So first of all, I think I forgot to tell you guys what is this book about. If you didn't know already, it is a letter from a son to his mother, but his mother cannot read. I will try to explain it from what I understand. Basically, from the sentence, you can know that I don't really understand. So in the letters, it tells like their life stories, I guess. So the life stories of the son. In this book, they call him Little Dog. I'm not sure what was his name. Oh my god, that's so bad of me. But okay, he is a Vietnamese living in America in, I don't know what year was it. Like his family, he has, you know, himself, and then his mother, and also his grandmother, and also his auntie, I guess. But you know, only 3 of them live in America. They face kind of like the discrimination because of their difference compared to the people around them. So it tells his life stories and also other characters' life stories based on what he see, and then also it tells the life stories of his mother and also his grandmother based on what they told him. Oh, and also like I think I would say like the observation of life based on, you know, like his observation on life. Macam observation dia tentang apa yang terjadi lah. His observation on whatever happens around him. I don't think I want to rate this book because first of all, it is a letter. So it's like I take that as a privilege for me to like be able to, you know, read a letter someone writes to another person. And also because it is, you know, the life stories of people. So I don't think I want to rate that. You know what I mean? Like rating someone else's life stories and also like their observation on life. But I would say this is my first literature book. I would say that I feel that I am not intelligent enough to understand several things that were written in here. And also I think this book is very beautifully written, like the words, the writing style. And also I like it when they were maybe like life events or whatever that happens, like, you know, maybe anything that happens in here. Following those events will be some kind of like the author's, like the Little Dog's view on that event. Maybe like conclusion of view, but it was written in I feel like the sentences were beautiful and sometimes I feel touched by the sentences. Okay lah, I'm just going to explain it in Malay, I guess. So dia akan ada macam satu keadaan atau apa-apa. After dia cerita tentang keadaan tu, dia akan ada macam satu conclusion of that keadaan. Tapi conclusion tu ditulis secara literature, tak tahu lah, tapi macam ayat dia tu cantik lah. So like I really appreciate that and I really like that. Honestly, for me, you know, like this is my first literature book. Maybe in the future I will read more literature books, so I will understand literature in a better way. But this one, although I did not understand it fully, like 100%, it is still, how do I say this, like this is my first experience. Maybe I cannot appreciate it the way I would appreciate other literature books in the future, but this has opened the door for me to get and understand those other literature books. Okay lah, like before this I said I don't want to rate it. If I rate it, this would be a 3.75. It's not because this book is like not good in any way. Like it was good. It's just there are several things that I did not understand, and I can say that it was my fault because I cannot understand it. So like if you have not read this book and you want to read this book, and when you read it you can actually understand it better than I did, I suppose you will like this book more than I do.